What's going on, guys? Coach Grizzle coming at you with another Talking Sports with Coach. I think this is episode 12 now. It's either 12 or 13. I think it's 12. Don't hold me to that. But, of course, always have a great list of guests each and every Saturday. We try to talk a little NFL, NBA, MLB, whatever's going on, soccer. And I've always got my great guest, Allan Bell Jr. with me. Talk a little NFL. We're going to try to get somebody additionally to Allan next week, so kind of bear with me and we'll see what happens, and we'll see if I can get him on. But guy that I enjoy having on every Saturday, whenever he can get on with me. Love talking to this guy, Allan Bell Jr. from Sportsline.com with 24/7 Sports. He joins me once again on Talking Sports with Coach. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, buddy. You doing all right?
I can't complain. We're just hanging out, man. We got 20 people watching us. We're growing, and seems like we're doing the right thing, right?
I like it, man. I like it. Let's go.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good. We got a lot of people in the chat hanging out. Steele says hi. Tent says hi. So, we've got a few people chatting and hanging out. So,
absolutely, man.
Yeah, so I'm sure if they got any questions, I can probably relay them to you, and maybe they can help them out. So we'll see what's going on. So what's up, man? How do you feel? How do you feel this weekend? Let me ask you something outside of the NFL. How do you feel about soccer being back and NASCAR being back?
Man, I love it. All right, so first off, understand, I'm not the biggest soccer or NASCAR fan in the world, and what I mean by that is this. I like them. I'm just not as educated on the sports as other people are. However, I love it. I think there's something cool about having European soccer on early in the morning. On TV, whether you're really into it, whether you're betting it, or it's just sports to have on during the summer. You know what I mean? When there's no college football or anything like that. So I like it. I like that NASCAR's coming back too. We've talked about it before, but let me say, man, again, I have to give just major props to NASCAR. During this entire, coronavirus deal, them coming out with the iRacing was such a smart move. It was brilliant, man. They've got so many more people that are just talking about NASCAR, interested in it, even if from, it's just, a video game community. You know what I mean? So smart of them to do it. So I hope that, tomorrow at Darlington, that their ratings continue to rise, because they deserve it, man. They got creative in a time when it was really difficult, and I love people and companies that do that. So major props to them, man.
Without a doubt, and it just seems like you said, they're just going in the right direction. They're doing everything that they need to do, and if you look at Korean baseball organization, I mean, they're doing it right too. I mean, it just seems like they've done enough to, even I feel like Korea could have fans in the crowd right now. I feel like that they are doing everything that they can to keep their people safe, and I think even with fans, you look at places like Taiwan, they got I think it was 5,000 fans or something like that in one of the games. So, if there's a way that we can space people out and maybe sporadically not have so many jam-packed stadiums until the time that we need to do this kind of stuff, I think with NASCAR, it's they're not playing each other, they're not touching each other, they're driving in a car. The only people that are not safe are the people that are in the crowd. So. But I think if you do all the necessary precautions and you seat people, further away, and even if you want to wear a mask at your own discretion, do it. But, I think even if we wore masks, it's still going to get worse. You know what I mean? And we just kind of have to, they talk about we have a vaccine with the flu, and they're trying to find a vaccine for this. We still have a vaccine with the flu, and the flu kills more people. So it's why can't we have everyone coming back and, or just slowly coming back? I mean, it's just crazy in the times we're living in.
It is crazy for sure. None of us have ever really seen anything like this, in the response. In terms of bringing fans back, so again, let me preface by saying, one, I'm not a scientist, so you're not going to hear anything from me. I am not smart enough to have those conversations, nor would I put that on anyone. I find myself pretty much in the middle in terms of we want everybody to be safe and we want everyone to be healthy. But I also understand that, we also are going to have to get back to real life at some point, and people need to work, people need sports, people need life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm certainly not against, you know, the openings of cities and everything that we've seen recently, because, you know, again, like, you know, you brought up a good point, and understand, I'm not comparing anything to anything, but, you know, a cure, you know, things like that, like, we don't even have a cure for athlete's foot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Who knows if a cure is going to come for this thing or not? But again, you know, understand, I'm not excited, not even taking a stance on it. But back to the point, like, with it, you know, this is kind of a good test case, right?
Yeah.
Like, seeing, you know, fans and stands, you know, at baseball games. You know, we've seen the UFC, you know, last weekend and Wednesday night, and we'll see it again, you know, tonight. You know, they don't have fans in the stands, but, you know, you've got a sport where you've got people around. You know, they're kind of coming in contact with each other pretty violently.
Yeah.
And I thought UFC, I got to give UFC credit too. You know, they put, you know, their show on Saturday, and, you know, UFC 249 was a huge success, and they even had, you know, a fighter and two people, you know, in his corner that came down with the virus, and they didn't cancel the entire event. You know, they quarantined those guys and made sure that they were safe. You know, retested everybody and made sure that everything, you know, was healthy and safe, and also, you know, a good sporting event, and it was a huge success. So I got to give credit to those guys. Dana White and the team, they did a really good job. But yeah, I mean, long story short, yeah, I mean, it's going to happen at some point. I mean, fans are going to be in stands at some point. Let's you know, let's just come up with the best way to do it. Yeah,
no, without a doubt. And I know, I know that we're going to have our football back. I don't believe that a lot of these guys. Do you believe a lot of these that they just necessarily need do we need every single college to be on board? I mean, can we just be okay with just the South playing college football this year? You know what I mean? Like, is that okay?
You know, all right, so real quick on that, like, you know, that's an interesting conversation. So, like, football, you know, the NFL and college are completely different, like, in terms of, like, their roadmaps back, right? You know, NFL, you have employees, you know, people are getting paid. Obviously, college, you know, it isn't. You know, it's a little bit different. But, yeah, I mean, we're going to have football. Like, there's no doubt in my mind, unless something, you know, big changes. We're going to have NFL football at the least. Like, that's not a problem. We're going to have that. College football, I think we are as well. It could look differently, you know, because really, you know, states like California, states like New York are going to be just a lot more difficult, you know, road map path back. But, yeah, I mean, we're going to have college football. Is it going to look exactly the same as it has forever? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I'm with you. We're going to have some football.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And, man, I don't know what I'm going to do if I don't have it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, I mean, I guess I can live with half a year. I mean, I've made it this far with what we don't have. And, man, I like soccer. So, like, with this being on right now, this is perfect for me. You know what I mean? Like, this is perfect. So, all right.
And let me say this real quick before we go.
Yeah.
Even if college football, like, if it comes down to, like, just conferences playing each other, right? Like, just, you know, 1 year where it's just SEC teams playing SEC teams and Big 10 and Big 12. If that's it, you know, if we don't have, you know, a Pac-12 or anything like that, like, it's not the same. But you know what? Like, I'm okay with 1 year being weird. And if we have to do it, we have to do it. But if that's what it takes to get football back on and everybody's safe and everybody's healthy, like, dude, line it up. Like, I would be legit with that. You know what I mean? Like, even if we have 4 conferences and you just took the winner of each one and had your own playoff, dude, line it up. Let's go. Like, I'm all for it.
Yeah. So, okay. So, done with all the other sports talk because we know what really matters, and that's the NFL and football in general. So, tell me a little bit about your feelings on the whole Quentin Dunbar, DeAndre Baker alleged robbery, and then now we have it where witnesses have said that they had nothing to do with it. Do you believe any of that?
All right, here's where I stand on it. And first, understand this. This is coming from somebody, quote unquote, in the media, right?
Yeah.
Like, same as you. You have to wait before, you know, putting judgment on anybody. Now, I'm not saying that those guys did or didn't do it. I'm just saying, you know, with the way that media can aggregate stories, put things out, like, we don't know.
Yeah.
However, something happened. I mean, something happened. And we saw, you know, Quentin Dunbar's, you know, attorney came out with their own statement. And again, I'm not saying take that as truth, take it as false. I'm not saying any of it. Just kind of let this thing play out. But it really does appear that DeAndre Baker was a part of this. He did something, and here's the dumb part about it, is that if this is true, dude, you just threw, $30 million down the drain.
Yeah.
For what? For $600,000 worth of watches, dude, and your getaway car was a Lamborghini. Like, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing, man? Something happened. It's a brutal look. It's a brutal look for the teams, brutal for players, and brutal for the league as a whole. And especially, you got two guys who can play, who are really good. So the Giants are going to be in a tough spot with Baker, and I don't know what they do, but this is tough. It's just not a good look, especially when there's no sports on now. So it's going to be talked about. It's just a brutal look, man.
No, without a doubt. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, you can't tell me that I think it was a Mercedes, I think it was a BMW and a Lamborghini that were possible getaway cars. And it's just like, you can't tell me that in a house party with two professional athletes that have tons and tons of money, that they aren't the ones that got away. You're gonna tell me somebody stole their stuff and they took their car as the getaway car? I mean, come on now. And I'm not gonna be the one to kind of like talk bad or whatever, because I don't know all about it, but it just seems like, it's crazy to think that, like, literally the night before that he did it, like the morning of, he sat there and talked with his Dunbar sat there and talked to the Seattle Seahawks on a Zoom call, about just like how he can help the program, help the team and everything like that. And it's just like, dude, you just like, even the thought of you being around that situation, I don't even know if I'd want that guy on your team. Would you want a guy like that? I guess talent overweighs, breaking the law, right?
Yeah. Oh, trust me. No, that's not what you want. And understand, you've been around football. You work in it. You understand. You go into a college program. You go into an NFL program. You go into a facility. There are marketing signs everywhere. For the team. Do the right thing, and blah blah blah. Like, they have all of these up there. You know what I mean? And felonious, robbery with a gun really doesn't fall in that. Here's the hard part. So I don't know what's going to happen. If it's went down like it said it did, DeAndre Baker's probably going to see a little jail time. But here's the hard part for the Giants is that you cut him.
Yeah.
It happened and he's guilty, and you cut him. Well, somebody's going to pick him up, and somebody's going to get him cheap and almost free, and you're the team that gets punished for it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we've seen that time and time and time again in the NFL, and I hate it for that team because they're not the ones that did this. You know what I mean? And now they get punished because they lose, a top prospect, a top player, and somebody else is going to get to pick him up. Yeah. For nothing. I hate that part of it, but that's the NFL, man. If you can play, you can play.
It's like you can beat women, or you can beat your wife, or you can beat your child, and then you can get a new team. Like, if you don't want to be on the team, like, if Tom Brady didn't want to be with New England, he should just beat his child or something. You know what I mean? Like, because, this seems like, as a professional athlete, it doesn't matter. You like, literally the law doesn't matter to you. Like, if you play at Alabama, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. You know what I mean? Like, if you play at the University of Alabama, it's okay. You get caught with drugs or whatever, guns, whatever. You know what I mean? You can still play the rest of the season.
Dude, that's what I hate about it, and it's obviously, you can't go out and be doing these things. It's just crazy. Like, and think about this too. I might be a little older than some of the folks, in the chat on the show. I'm only 35, but like 10, 15 years ago in the NFL. Like, there were crimes being committed, players getting suspended. Here in Nashville, Pac-Man Jones, it was a weekly thing. You know what I'm saying? And, like, if you look at, like, the last 5 to 8 years, the NFL's really done a great job. Like, nobody really gets in big trouble. You haven't really seen a whole lot. The NFL's done a good job, and the players have. They're just good dudes. You know what I mean? So for something like this, like, it affects everybody.
Oh, without a doubt.
The entire league down. You just hate this.
Without a doubt, and another damper in the league is their proposal to try to hire more minorities into the league to try to help out draft picks. Now, does a minority hire help on draft picks? Because, I mean, like, the minority hire is not making that decision. You know what I mean? Like, just because you have a few more minority head coaches, it doesn't, like, a lot of times teams are going to be whatever their GM or their owner, or especially Jerry Jones, wants. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's like, it's crazy to think that they come up with these plans. I mean, you don't ever have to come up with a plan. Why don't you just hire a quality candidate and stop being, you know, pretty racist about it seems, you know?
Yeah.
At times.
I'm with you. So with this, it's such a big, like that's a huge story that comes out. Like there are a lot of tree branches that come off. Okay. So first off, you know, I'm not, of African American descent, so I can't speak to this part. But if I were looking at that, I would look at it two ways. Of one, I'm glad that these conversations are happening, but two, you know, it's incentivizing in an odd way. You know what I mean? Like I would want to get the job because of my merits and having earned the job, instead of a team looking at it like, oh, we can get a couple, you know, a draft pick, you know, moved up. But there's also a reason why the conversations are being had, because we're not seeing the growth of, you know, minority coaches. And you know, I don't know, you know, the reasoning for that. I have a hard time thinking that the league as a whole, you know, is quote unquote racist. You know what I mean? Like I have a hard time believing that, but there is an issue with it. You know, you see assistant coaches, you know, of minority descent have a more difficult time, you know, going up the ladder on the offensive side as opposed to the defensive side. Especially in a league where everything is solely pretty much based on offense. Yes, it gets more difficult. So, I mean, there's so many conversations to be had. I was just surprised that it came out, and I don't think that it's going to pass. Yeah. Because, I mean, this thing has been pretty negative. Yeah. You know, negatively viewed on all sides. It's just fascinating that came out this week.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And it seems like they're going to need 24 of 32 votes to kind of get something to pass, and it's probably going to be really hard to get 24 owners to be on board of this.
Yeah, it's too what I'm looking for. You know, kind of out there. And it's a poor choice of words, but it's really all I have. That, you know, the NFL doesn't like to you know, cause big waves in the water, right? Like they like smooth, you know, like a pool that nobody's in, right? Like, so for something like this to come out of the blue and, you know, hasn't really been, you know, discussed, you know, conversated about for, you know, a year, you know, for basically having a couple days, no, I don't think that it's going to happen.
Well, if I can get Benemini to be my head coach next year after Dan Quinn is gone, after going 7-9 or 8-8 for another season, I could be okay with that. I could be on board with that. I could definitely be on board with that, to be honest with you. I mean, because I'm sick of not seeing that guy as a head coach, and I'm sick and tired of the excuses from Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff on literally doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
and it's like it seems like they tried to save themselves this year with this draft. You know what I mean? It was like they finally made a decision to finally draft players that could actually help or work.
Dude, we talked about it before the draft even happened. Like, Dimitroff and Dan Quinn literally were coming in with nothing to lose. Yeah. Like that's why that they could go guns a-blazing, because if it doesn't work, well, you're gonna be fired anyway. So, you know, who cares? Like, just go after it. But that brings up a big conversation. Is, you know, how aggressive should you be right out of the gate? You know, and we've seen it work and we've seen it not work. You know, people hammer on Bill O'Brien, you know, in Houston for his crazy trade. And trust me, I get it. Like, you know, Talkin, you know, what he did with Laramie Tunsil, like crazy stuff. But let me say this, like, I live here in Nashville, in, you know, AFC South country. The Texans have won the division 5 of the last 6 years. Yeah. Like, dude, he's a crazy person, but they've been winning a lot, right? So, I mean, it goes back to, yeah, like it might seem crazy to be aggressive, but this league is aggressive, and you benefit from being aggressive and being smart. The Seahawks have been aggressive. The Patriots have been aggressive. The Steelers, they just draft better than anybody. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm with you on that, man, for sure.
Yeah, so we're sitting here and we were talking earlier about everything coming back. Do you feel that this is kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel? Do you feel like that we're going in the right direction, that they're allowing people to come back in the NFL?
Yeah, it looks like we're doing great, and again, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a, numerologist, but, just a regular Joe type guy of what I see, what I feel. It looks like everything is going well. We've got states that are opening back up. The NFL sent a memo out last night, that the facility is going to be open, to employees, not coaches and full players just yet. But it looks like, we're taking the right steps and things are going and progressing, in a good manner. And again, today is what? March 14th, 15th, 16th?
Yeah.
Or May, I mean. Yeah, May.
Close enough.
We don't have to make a decision on anything, until, the NFL starts, in early September.
Yeah.
So we've got so much time, to do this thing right and ensure that if we, still continue to stay safe, but, test the waters a little bit, get out there, I think we're in good shape.
Okay, so Aaron Rodgers, it seems like he's always in the news about something. I mean, we can't stop talking about the bad man. Do you feel like that he really wants to finish his career with the Packers? Do you think that it was always something that he wanted to do, even before this whole Jordan Love kind of thing?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, well, listen, I think that he did. But here's the hard part. And think about it, and I implore everyone listening to think about it in your perspective for whatever you do for work.
Right.
Okay? If you're at work, say we all go back Monday, okay? Things are back to normal.
Yeah.
You go in, and your boss openly hires your replacement, not anyone else's, your replacement.
Yeah.
Puts their desk right beside yours, and it's your replacement who is 10 times cheaper, okay?
Yeah.
And they spent money to go get it. The dynamic of that is so weird, and it's so odd. And that's why when we heard from Aaron Rodgers yesterday, and he was calm and cool, collected about it, but he didn't hide his feelings. He even said, I don't blame Jordan Love for getting drafted. Like, dude, he is not happy about this at all, and I don't blame him. So he's going to play for the Packers this year.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think that they're done after this year. I know that, his contract and salary, is going to be a hindrance in terms of the trade. But there's just no way that this thing is going to last longer than a year. It just can't. It's not human nature. It's not a good dynamic at the most important position for arguably one of the best quarterbacks of all time, who has cameras in front of them everywhere. It's just not a good dynamic for the team, and I just don't see any way that this thing can last. Because again, if you just kind of compare it to your own job, they're openly trying to replace you. It's just weird. It won't last that long.
Yeah, I mean, and I kind of can agree with him that retiring as a Packer may not be a reality for him, and it's just crazy to think that we get into this transition of where we're trying to figure out when a quarterback really reaches his peak. I've seen stats where Matt Ryan has had the most pressure out of any quarterback in the NFL, and he completes I think it's over 50% of his passes, and it was probably I know it was in the high 50s or something like that, and he was one of the best ones to do it. And if you look at it, Tom Brady was one of the worst ones to do it. Okay, so our guys, that's the thing. It's when do we know when quarterbacks are done? Because I felt like Matt Ryan's been done for the last 3 years, but then he's got MVP numbers each year. But I also feel because we're in a passing league, it does kind of look good when you can pass so many times and you have such good talent around you. And it's kind of like in college. I mean, with Mac Jones, it's everyone. I heard someone talking yesterday about Mac Jones, about how you given the keys to a Camaro and he did everything that he needed and blah, 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 blah. They say the same thing about Tua. So Tua coming into the league, right? He had all this talent around him. How good is he going to be when he goes to Miami compared to the talent he had at Alabama? You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy it's crazy to make, judgment over a quarterback like that, especially Aaron Rodgers, and especially if you don't give him anybody to throw to other than Devontae Adams. It's going to be really hard.
It's hard. Now, first off, football is the ultimate team sport. Your defense can have an effect on your offense. Your offense can have an effect on your defense. Your offensive line can make a bad quarterback look good. Your offense can make a great quarterback look bad. Right?
Yeah.
There are so many things that go into it. So accurately, judging where you're at with your quarterback, you really have to know, what you're doing. And two, talent has a big play in it. Look what we saw last year, from Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Arguably one of the greatest seasons of all time. Well, buddy, you're going to the Bengals. And it ain't going to be that, right? Yeah. Like, you don't have – that ain't LSU, man. Like, it's going to be tough. But can you, kind of look through, everything else and grade accurately? Peyton Manning still holds, I believe, the NFL rookie record for most interceptions in a season, right?
Yeah.
Peyton Manning turned out to be pretty good. So, it's just so difficult. And let me say this also for the Packers. I give them the benefit of the doubt. They've done this before.
Yeah.
They did it with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, and it worked.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I give them the benefit of the doubt. I look at quarterbacks in the league like, if you're looking for a job, in regular life. Like, the best time to look for a job is when you have a job. The best time to look for a quarterback is when you have a quarterback. Teams get in trouble when they don't have a quarterback and you have to reach and stretch and overpay and overdraft to get a quarterback who might not be the guy that you want. So if the Packers really do like this guy, Jordan Love, they did their work and they think he's going to be good, well, this is when you do it. When you have a quarterback, you don't need him, Love right now. So I can't blame them either. But, when you pull the plug, Aaron Rodgers just went to the NFC Championship game with a Packers team that not necessarily was that great. They're a good team, but, it's odd. And after this year, what happened? This is what makes the NFL great, and it makes it tough, because think about how many Hall of Famers there are, and think about how many finished on a different team. Tom Brady is not a Patriot. Emmitt Smith didn't finish with the Cowboys, right? Like, you could keep going down the list. This has happened before. It's happened a lot in the NFL.
Yeah, man, it's just, I don't know. I feel like I've always felt like the Packers have drafted well, though, because, like we've said this before, like, they go for guys that, like, they don't go for, like, necessity. They go for, like, the best there is. You know what I mean? And it's just, like, the best guy up. And I feel like you said, a lot of times it does help them really get over the hump, and that's kind of what the Patriots do too. And it just seems like a lot of teams don't necessarily do this type of thing. You know what I mean? They really need to maybe kind of change up what they do. And I think a lot of times with GMs and owners, and I'm sure coaches, they all get big headed. And there's a lot of times where we sit here and look at, I think it was me and a friend were talking on one of my fantasy groups. We have a Facebook group where we chat and talk trash and all this other stuff. And we were talking about Charles Harris going to the Falcons, and we were talking about I said something about tacos. Well, it had nothing to do about Taco Charlton, but he brought it up, and he's like, yeah, I was so high on this guy, blah, 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 blah. And I kept telling him, I was like, dude, I wanted him. I wanted the guy. I was like, but then the Falcons ended up drafting Takk McKinley. He clearly hasn't been that great, but he's stayed on one team since he's been drafted. Taco Charlton's now on his third team. It could be better for him. Who knows? He's going to the Chiefs. It's just crazy, because it's just like you just never ever know. It's like, giving up 6 first-round picks for Julio Jones. You just never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, you're right. Like, it's tough. And, going back to what you were just saying about teams drafting, okay? Yeah. Like, it's the same thing in life. Like, what we just said, it's the best time to look for a job is when you have a job.
Yeah.
The best time to, save money and put money in a 401k or, invest in stocks anything is when you have money, right? So like the Packers, the Steelers, those two prime examples. These are teams that are perennially good every year, and like you said, they don't stretch for a need.
Yeah.
They take the best player available. They do what when teams skip over really good guys because they have to have a cornerback or a quarterback or whatever. The Packers and the Steelers are always there to scoop that player up. The Ravens as well, put them in that. So that's why these teams are constantly good, because they're just drafting smart. They're not overthinking themselves, but they're in a good quote-unquote financial position, to do it. If you have, $5 in, your wallet at one time and you're starving to get something to eat, well, your options are pretty limited, right? Like you're going to
McDoubles, baby.
Wait to McDonald's. Yeah, you know what I mean? But if you have, a $100 bill in your pocket and you already ate before you left the house, like you're in just such a better position. And that's how kind of I describe what the Packers and Steelers do. That's why they're always good, because they don't let themselves have that big fall. If that makes sense. Like their bad seasons are 8-8. You know what I mean? Like they don't have, those 2-win, 3-win seasons.
Yeah. And Steele says in the chat, he says, is football getting in the way of Aaron Rodgers making State Farm commercials?
That's my new favorite comment of the year. Steele, well done.
Steele's great, man. Steele's a Patriots fan. Well, I think he's a Tampa Bay Bucks fan now. I'm not really sure. I'd probably have to understand what he is. I don't really know what he is right now. I think he's still a Patriots fan.
Let me say this. I don't blame anyone who's a Patriots fan, like, kind of taking on the Bucks in the next year or two.
Yeah. Because
Brady's their guy. And if I were a Patriots fan, like, Brady is my guy. Now, I'm not saying they're turning their back on the Patriots. I'll always love them. But, like, it's okay to love that dude.
Right.
Not everyone in the league can deserve that type of credit. Brady does. You know what I mean? So I think it's perfectly fine that, you're AFC, NFC, you're not going to have any, kind of mixture anyway. I'm all for it. I have no problem with that.
So he also says you can get a whole lot of celery at Food Lion for $5. I don't even think we have a Food Lion, to be honest. I don't think we have a Food Lion. Steele, we have a Piggly. We have a Piggly Wiggly here, and we have a, which is over the mountain. It's in Rednecksville. I don't think there's actually one in Huntsville anymore. But we do have a Kroger, but we don't have a Food Lion anymore. I don't think we do have a Food Lion. Do you have a Food Lion?
Yeah, I've got a Food Lion. We used to have Piggly Wigglies. We don't see them too terribly much. There's like one or two around Nashville, but yeah, we've got a couple Food Lions as well. I think
Piggly Wiggly is in New Hope or near Arab, and then I think in Arab there is a Food Lion, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I could be wrong. It's been a while.
Hey, so let me say this. Steele brought up an excellent point. Another, analogy to use, right? Like if you're trying to get in shape, okay? Like you're trying to get in good shape right now. Well, you know what the best way to get in good shape is not let yourself get in bad shape. Like you eat celery, you eat these things, you eat vegetables. It's a whole lot easier to maintain than it is to fall all the way down and climb all the way back up. Yeah. And I hope that makes sense. Like that's what the Packers, that's what the Steelers, that's what the Patriots have done forever. Is if you just maintain that level, you're gonna have more hits than you are missing.
Yeah, and it seems like you're sitting here talking about eating right and losing weight. How about Marshall Yonda losing 60 pounds by just eating tuna? Did you hear about that?
I love seeing like these linemen that like immediately lose so much weight.
Yeah.
Thomas, from the Browns, like he immediately, was just in incredible shape, and it goes to show that these guys, I mean, like their diet and what they have to eat, to maintain those weight levels is so much that once they stop, I mean, they're just on a train to lose the weight. It's crazy.
Yeah, without a doubt, and it's hilarious. He's like, I did nothing but bike and eat tuna. That's all my buddy did. That's all my buddy did in high school. Like literally, he went from 190 to He went from 190 during the beginning of football season, got down to 170 at the end of football season. By the time wrestling season called around, he had to wrestle 145. All he did was eat tuna and water.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you could do it. I mean, you do eggs, egg whites. I mean, those are the types of foods that you can kind of you can eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you're gonna shed some conflict.
All right, so we talked about it a little bit before the show started, and we'll kind of end on this note too. Let's talk a little bit about the Jerome Harrison thing. He was clearly saying he came on Barstool and said that he did receive a check from Mike Tomlin personally for his hit on Mohamed Massaquoi back in 2010. Do you believe that? I kind of do, because I feel like a lot of that kind of stuff probably happens in the NFL. It's just the Saints ended up getting in trouble because of who their coach, who's not around anymore. He's at Princeton. The coach that was the whistleblower and told on everybody. I feel like the only reason that got out was because somebody told on him, and he probably got financially rewarded for it.
Yeah. So all right. So first, let's start James Harrison. I mean, he said it for a reason, right? Like, yeah. I mean, I'm not here to put any accusations or anything on anybody, but I mean, something like that doesn't just come out. You don't just make that up randomly. Yeah. And let me say this, man. Like, been around the NFL for a little while. Like, that's always kind of been the conversation. Underneath the media level is, did teams help players with paying fines? Yeah. Is this something that goes on? It's kind of like when you talk college football or college basketball and you talk about bagmen, right? Like, it doesn't get proven really ever, but we all kind of talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's something there. But yeah, I mean, it's so. First off, it happened so long ago, and second, what was the fine? $70,000.
75, yeah.
Do I think Mike Tomlin has given him $70,000?
Yeah.
It's not of his own money. James Harrison probably made more than Tomlin did. You know what I mean? Is the organization doing it? Nah, I don't think so. The Steelers are pretty stand-up organization. Like, they don't have a lot of problems for a reason. The Rooneys are good people. They run a tight ship, but they run a family-oriented ship as well. So I don't think that they were openly skirting the NFL's rules. But again, James Harrison said it. I mean, we're just taking his word for it. It's just an odd situation. As for the Saints, I know Sean Payton blasted it, but again, look really quickly at the difference. The Saints were running a program of paying players to take people out. I mean, we all remember that Greg Williams, cut off the head, it'll kill the body. They had, numbers listed for what to pay out. Like, dude, if you were college football, you would get a show cause. Your AD would be gone. There's no, looking over the program whatsoever. So there's a huge difference between, all that. But, to end it on that, I mean, James Harris, like, he said it. Like, there's something there, but, who knows? We'll never know.
Yeah, the thing is you came out and you said something on Barstool, which I do enjoy, like, most of what Barstool has to offer. I think sometimes they can get, I think they can be kind of like TMZ in a way, where they really do pull, unnecessary information from people. And, like, thing about, and I think I just said Jerome, but James Harrison, I feel like with him, I feel like even if you're a player, man, why do you wait until you're retired to say something about your coach who's still in the league, and you feel like you need to voice that opinion, but then you sat there and said to Barstool that the greatest thing he ever did was give you a check for that hit, then come out and go, oh, well, it's not Bountygate, but it never really happened like that because you don't know the full story. Now, the NFL did reduce that fine to $50,000. Okay, now I could see where a coach could probably give him 25, maybe half of it, to help him out. But, like, why would a coach give you $25,000 anyway to reduce and help you pay the fine that you did on that hit? It's like Vontaze Burfict. Do you want to continue to pay for Vontaze Burfict to just knock people out and hurt them? And another thing is, that hit on Massaquoi back in 2010 was never flagged, and I don't even think Harrison even got kicked out of the game.
Yeah.
Because I don't think helmet to helmet was a thing back then.
No. And like, I know that Mike Tomlin makes NFL money. Dude, $25,000, like, that is a lot of money on one just random hit that didn't really mean a whole lot anyway. Like, if he were quote unquote doing that, how many others, would there be? And then how broke would you be immediately? Like, 4 of those, and that's $100,000. Like, that's what makes it, so tough to believe. But, it's something that came up, and we'll talk about it. It'll be gone in 3 days.
Right.
And then we won't hear anything of it again.
Of course. Well, I don't want to waste up all your anytime minutes. Thank you so much, as always, for joining the show. Everyone in the chat greatly enjoys hearing you each and every Saturday that we can get you on. Man, thank you so much for helping me out, and thank you so much for everything you do, man.
Man, I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, as always, for having me on. Everybody listening, man, y'all are great. I appreciate you putting up with me. But, yeah, man, look forward to the next time, and have a good one, man. Take care.
All right, man, you too. Have a good rest of your day, and go get some golfing in. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We will get on some Call of Duty here in a second. Let me go to a break, get something to drink, and I'll tell him you said bye. I'll tell him when I talk to him Monday. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming by the show. I hope you guys enjoy every time that we get him on. We're going to try to get next week. I'm going to try to get Bo Estes. He's an NBA guy. Kind of try to talk NBA, try to see if we can find some information on if the season's coming back. If not, I'm going to try to find another... I'm going to find a Falcons guy and see if he can get on. There's a guy from local, or not local, but he's out of Atlanta. It's a news place, so it's I can't remember what news channel he works for, but I'm gonna have to see if he can get on. But it'll be really nice. It'll be really nice to kind of change it up a little bit, maybe give Allan some time off. And if not, if Allan's cool to be back next Saturday, we'll probably have Allan on next Saturday too. So I hope it was a good show. Steele. I will be clipping it later because I'm just gonna put the end real quick so it's the end, and then we're gonna come back, and I'll come right back. So hold on one second. So thank you so much for joining Talking Sports with Coach. You tune in every Saturday, 10 a.m. If it's not at 10 a.m., it's around 10 a.m. But we're gonna keep doing it, even if we don't have guests. I'm gonna come on, talk for an hour, and we'll go from there. So thank you so much, everybody. I need to switch it up and figure out what's going on, and then we will go from there. I'm just putting it on the end, and I'm going right to the be right back. So see you guys.